Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News with me, Keturah King. Now, my next guest is a filmmaker and award-winning writer. You may have heard of some of his awards. They include the African Movie Academy Best Screenplay Award, the ANAA Prize for Drama, and he was a Goethe Institute Africa Project finalist. As a filmmaker, he's written several screenplays for various production companies spread around the world, from the acclaimed, or the critically acclaimed rather, film The Tenant, to directing the documentary Blaze Up the Ghetto. Jude Idada's works challenges his viewers to reconsider history and politics. Welcome to the show, Jude.
Thank you for having me.
How are you this fine morning?
Well, I'm wonderful. It's been an early morning, but
I know, very early starts around here. Yeah. Breakfast TV. Now, tell me where this passion for filmmaking came from.
Well, I guess some people are just born with art resonating through their hearts. I guess I'm one of those people. I'm born a storyteller. I believe in images, and I just spread the message through that calling that has been with me ever since my birth.
Wow. And you currently live in Canada, but you visit Nigeria quite often.
Yes.
What's the reception in Canada like to your, would you call them Nollywood movies? They're not Nollywood per se, but they are films created by a Nigerian writer, producer, and director. Yeah. What's the reception been like for you? Well,
Canada is unique because it's a multicultural country that embraces multiculturalism in the polity. So the country, the people, they quest for it. So it's beautiful. I've been accepted, I've been embraced, my work has been reviewed, has been consumed and all. But in Nigeria, it has been a different thing altogether because I'm part of the milieu, part of the momentum, part of the change that's coming to tell our stories in our own way for our own people. So yes, I've been gone for 17 years now. 17 years,
17 wow.
years, yeah. And in the past 5 years, I have come back more frequently. To start this new re-immersion into the artistic landscape of this country. So, yeah, so we see my works as they come in one after the other.
Wow, and we can see, we saw one of those briefly playing on TV just now. Mm-hmm. So how do you manage to rope these actors in and get them to, you know, create these Nigerian plot lines?
Well, people have known me for a long time because before I came into film experientially, I've written books. I have 6 published books. I've been on stage for a while. I graduated from University of Ibadan where I did theater arts. So so my work has been consumed on stage and on the written text, as it were. So now for film, after my film The Tenant, which came out in 2010, there has been this quest for Jude, what's the next thing you'll do? So it's been easy with the actors. I'm happy to respect my work, to respect my thought system, my beliefs. So by approaching them and, you know, giving them these pitches, they just jump on board, and I'm happy that we've been able to do something great that will be coming soon.
Amazing. So talk to me about this project, because you're alluding to it, but we haven't really spoken about it in detail. It's called Keturah, and it's quite politically charged. Yeah, Tell me about it.
Well,
without giving away too much, of course we go out and watch it.
Yeah. Well, even the title of the movie has always been, you know, shrouded in secrecy and all of that. And so you've said it right now. So the movie is called Keturah, which is the Hausa word meaning the door. Right. It's a psychological thriller which espouses. Will I say, I don't want to give too much out.
Don't give us too much, but a little bit, a teaser.
Yeah, it's basically about 8 people who wake up in the room. They have no memories. They don't know who put them there, why they are there. And an armed man comes in and he takes them out one after the other. It's a race against time. They have to remember who they are. They have to remember who this man is, why he wants them out. And in order for them to marshal out an escape plan. And when they escape, the story takes a turn when they find out that what they thought they remembered
isn't actually what they remember. That's too much. That's always too much information. Yeah. But you are very vocal about Nigeria and the government, and in fact just the governance in general. Mm-hmm. Why or when did you even develop this passion for politics?
Well, I guess I developed it from my father, the kind of father I had.
Wow.
Who was very immersed. Of course, he worked with the government for a while. And my father, even from my age of the age of 5, my father gets us to watch the network news with him. And when we finished, we're 8 kids, we had to write a 1-page summary of the news. Mm-hmm. So imagine at the age of 5 up to my age now, having to constantly engage with what was happening in the contemporary world, historically, culturally, and all of that. So I had no option but be tuned. And also, I believe in social justice. I'm very active in the well-being of my person and the people around me and the nation in which I stay, both Canada or Nigeria or the world in general. So politics is me and I'm politics. I can't divorce myself. And I just believe if you're not political, that means you've handed the reign of your life to someone else.
Absolutely.
And you're just, you're a mannequin or you're a puppet. And a puppeteer is pulling your strings and you have no option but response. So yes, I have a voice and I speak and I engage. And I hope that my participation in the politics of my immediate environment will actually better my future, which is why I'm existing, for my future and for the future of my children when I have them.
Now, do you ever receive any backlash when you write politically charged pieces?
Originally, I used to until I perfected my art, and I realized that you can write or perform your art in such a way that it's not acerbic. You can write in subtext. You can write and meet people in the center. My goal basically is to enlighten. It's not to cause disagreements or arguments or whatsoever. It's just to spread knowledge, to make you look at things that befall you from a different angle, and hopefully for you to just engage and change your livelihood, as it were, both in the political experience and in the economic experience. Spiritually also.
Oh, look at you. Okay, then. So do you have any plans to run for office anytime soon? Because people generally believe that once you start making these political contributions to society, you do so because you're trying to enter office at some point later in the future. Is that the case with you?
No, I'm always willing to serve, but I don't believe in politics. I believe that as a political animal, if you engage for aspiring for an office, there's a certain manacles that you're strapped with. So no, I will be ready to serve if I'm appointed to serve, but I don't see myself. I'm too honest. I'm too honest to be a politician. Yeah.
So as a filmmaker, writer, producer, director, which one of those hats is your favorite?
I think a writer. I think
or political commentator. I didn't put that one in there.
Yeah, we're writer across, the spectrum.
Right.
So, writing for entertainment, writing to enlighten, writing to empower, to inspire, that's me. So if politics is part of it or what is calling for my participation at that point in time, then fine. But I'm an apostle of the written word, and I think that's where my greatest strength is, to use the word to break down doors, manacle the oppressor and free the oppressed.
Wow. Now, I want to talk about the entertainment industry for a little bit, the Nigerian entertainment industry, that is, of which you are, of course, part, even though you live in the diaspora. Now, we saw calls from entertainers like Charlie Boy, amongst others, calling for President Buhari, to either resume or resign. What is your take on entertainers delving into the political sphere?
Well, I think, first and foremost, as an entertainer, you have an audience. And when you have an audience, you have power. And if you do care about the audience, care about the time they spend engaging with you, engaging with your work, then I think you also owe them a concern for their betterment. So yes, I believe that entertainers should use that power to engage in the polity to make it a better place. So I have no issues whatsoever. I actually think more of them should do what he did. But might not necessarily be in the same way, but I think they should engage.
Wow, okay. And I want to ask you one last question. So it's my question of the day for all my guests that are coming on the show. The National Bureau of Statistics recently released an infographic showing us that Nigerians, well, we've only just received our first corruption survey, but apparently we pay 6 bribes a year or 2 bribes per month, and this totals about $36.4 million. What do you feel about this?
Well, I think, well, to be truthful, I think it's culturally true by what the Bureau of Statistics has brought out. We're a nation of bribe givers and bribe takers, both cash or kind. We're a nation where you go into a restaurant and someone opens the door for you. Just opening the door, which is his duty, he expects to be given something for it. And we don't want to obey the law. We abhor obeying the law. And for us not to obey the law, we want to pay our way around the law. So yes, it's the disease, it's the cankerworm, it's the cancer of our society. Corruption has eaten deep into the fabric, into our souls. So yes, bribe taking to us is like drinking water, like breathing. something we have to fix, something we have to uproot. But
and how do we face it? How do we uproot it? Because it's all well and good to talk about it and to say, well, this is the problem, I've identified it. Yeah. But then at what point do we say, okay, I'm going to do something about it? Because as a writer, as a political commentator, you know, you are able to do something about it. What is it that you plan to do?
Well, for my work, you know, we try and create scenarios where we make bribery in terms of taking and giving. We're trying to make it an anathema in the society, as it were. But in the country as a whole, it's about the law. That's the difference between here and Canada. Yeah. In Canada, it's the law. Everybody, because we see expatriates coming here, after a year, they're as bad as we are. You get, so it's the environment itself that corrupts. When in Canada, you can't give a bribe. You can't even think about giving it. Because you know what because even just giving it is already a crime in itself. You know what I mean? And there's a story or something that happened there where the secretary of the Prime Minister gave just $90,000. We hear millions of dollars here. Just $90,000. Over 30 people had to resign. People were thrown in jail for $90,000 in bribe. So it's the human form, the human being is corruptible. But what the law does is that the law saves us from ourselves. So we have to uphold that law. We have to defend that law, whether it's for us or whether it's against us. It's all about the law. I saw that same thing about, you know, police officers and judges and prosecutors and all of that. If the custodians of the law themselves are already compromised, then where does it leave us? But it's our power. You know, we say resume and resign for the president. We should say the same thing for NAS. We should say the same thing for judges who were found corruptible. We should say the same thing for supporting EFCC. You know, EFCC, the headquarters was attacked. What did we as a people do? Sat back.
That's very
true. So when corruption fights back, it's for us as the people to stand up and be counted. If we do not, it's not about APC or PDP or whatever. It's about our future. It's about our nation. It's about us. That's just the honest, it's the basic thing, that the people can only free themselves. As Truman said, the tree of liberty has to be watered with human blood. I'm not willing to die. But the thing is that we just have to engage. Nobody's going to save us but ourselves. Nobody. No politician, especially a politician that has come into office through the system.
That system.
A politician who is ready to spend $1 billion or $1 billion naira to get an office in which he will be paid 30 million. When you add it up, that means he's expecting to make 970 million from somewhere else. And that is from us, from our pockets, from our taxes, from the things that are meant for us. You know, our healthcare is going down, our educational system is in the doldrums and all of that. Everything that affects the common man. But the common man cannot look away. He cannot disengage because he feels it doesn't affect him. It affects him in every which way. The road he drives in, the medication he takes, the electricity that you know, comes and goes. I put up a Facebook update and I said I'll be here. And if you can tune in, and when you see my comments, everybody's, oh, NEPA don't go. I hope NEPA brings light.
They're taking the electricity.
Exactly, you know what I mean?
So we're going to talk more about how, you know, these things affect the layman during our take, because it is time for a quick break. So I do have to stop you there, but thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me.
That is all from Jude Idada for now. It's time now for another short break. But when we come back, it's time for our take. Stay with us.